Welcome to College for All, where nothing is impossible unless you think it is impossible. This is AMV bringing you information about college and beyond. You can also follow us on social media at college4all AMV on Twitter and Instagram. Dino Koff is a director of financial aid at Darthmouth College. Dartmouth College is an Ivy League research university in New Hampshire. Dino has worked in financial aid for over 16 years in financial aid and student affairs with both the undergraduate and even graduate students in the School of Medicine and Law School. Dino has been committed to making sure students gain access to higher education and is committed to addressing the needs of students so they can become lifetime learners and responsible leaders to make a strong impact in our society today. Welcome to the show, Dino.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's exciting to be here.
Now, I know we're going to talk a lot about financial aid, and sometimes when people hear about numbers, they get a little bit like, oh my God, to talk about numbers and money. But what got you interested in doing financial aid? Because that is a lot of work. There's a lot of heartache and there's a lot of joy. But what got you into it?
I think the end result of making sure that everybody has access is the key, because financial aid can be really confusing and complicated, and the whole goal is to demystify the process, get the information out there, and by doing that, the end result hopefully is that someone who has an offer of admission can be excited about it because there is a pathway to help pay, and that's what got me into it. Was the end result is it's creating access, and that's really important.
Yeah, and you can always see that joy of that kid who graduated, and then that return on investment is just, it's so huge, right? And some kids have to work a little bit harder than others, but when a school gives that support, one of our colleagues here said that you need to make sure your financial aid officer is your best friend in college, right? So, and I think that's great advice they have. Now, sometimes there are some variety of families who have different notions. So, for example, the family that's low income, they won't give me enough money. Or there's some that are middle income. Oh, the middle income, they never give us enough money. Or the people that do have some more resources will say they keep on wanting more money every year. What's some responses you have for those different types of families?
Well, I think just your question is the answer. Everybody's situation is different. Yeah. And so it isn't one size fits all. And that's why a family saying, we can't afford this, that might be in their mind absolutely correct. But another family hearing this, they still need to go through the process. And I say that because everybody's situation is different. And when you deal with formulas, it's not just set in stone. And when I say that, meaning in need-based aid, we deal with formulas. And, what does it look at? Sure, need-based aid looks at income and it looks at assets, but it also looks at how many people are in college and how many people are in the family. And so you're looking at different situations where someone might have 3 kids in school at once. And that's scary because you do get 3 tuition bills, but you also...
I'm in that process right now. I know what that is like.
But the positive, hopefully, is the school is acknowledging 3 kids in school and giving more aid, in that situation. So it's really, we have people applying for aid who are making $800,000, and we have people applying for aid who are making $25,000 or less. And I say that just because it's really everybody's situation. That family that's making $800,000, maybe they're not saving money. Maybe it's possible that their income is dropping and they feel like they may qualify. Some schools offer merit aid, and so it's really... Everybody has to go through the process at least the first year just to see how it works. What are colleges giving money? Like, for example, I said merit, I said need-based. Well, merit can be leadership. Merit can be these extracurricular activities. It could be in the music, in the arts. We hear about athletic scholarships, but they're music and theater. And so going through this process, figuring out, okay, so Dartmouth, where I work, and our peer schools in the Ivy League, we're only need-based aid. So families will know, okay, I have to have all this great stuff to get in, extracurriculars, grades, standardized test scores, but that's going to stay with admissions, and financial aid is going just on the numbers. And so when you have all these different situations, families in different situations applying, and it not being one size fits all, it's really important to investigate and go through the process the first year. The worst thing that can happen is, I didn't get enough money. Or the best thing is, I'm surprised. This is awesome. And we can do this.
Yeah, and for someone who's been doing this really long, too, that happens every April, right? Over and over again. And I always tell families, even though maybe they're going to a high school, they've never applied for financial aid, this is your insurance. You don't get car insurance expecting an accident. You do it just in case. Now, your institution, along with several others, have done a joint partnership with My Tuition, a website where it helps families to find this out with possible package deals ahead of time, whether it be for my first kid or how's the difference of financial aid for my second kid. Now there'll be 2 going to college. Can you tell our families what My Tuition and how they can find out more information about that? So
My Intuition was created by a professor at Wellesley College, and it has been an incredible resource for families. And I say that, I think there's now up to almost 60 colleges that are on it. And I think it's an incredible resource because it literally takes 3 minutes and 27 seconds to fill out.
He's not joking. He tested it.
And it's 5 or 6 questions. It gives an estimate. And the reason why it's really important is, and such a good resource, is the whole goal is to have no surprises. So if you get on to My Intuition and you fill it out and it gives you a range, it's not going to be the exact scholarship amount or loan amount or work study, but it's going to be a range. It may say you qualify for between $25,000 and $30,000. But it's enough of a picture to say, whoa, okay, this isn't going to be $70,000 possibly. And so it allows you then to go to the net price calculator, which is going to take you a little bit longer to fill out. It's a little clunkier, but it filled out correctly. It's accurate, and it will narrow it down. But both the My Intuition for the being really quick, and then the net price calculator, there are hopefully no surprises because you have these resources where you can fill them out. And I'm sure schools will help. I know at Dartmouth we'll help when families fill it out. We don't get access to the data, so we'll have families email their results in so that we can walk them through it to make sure they filled it out correctly.
And I think that's a great thing that a lot of families need to know. So whether I'm that parent, that guardian, or that student, I can always contact the financial aid office even before they apply. Hey, help me understand these numbers. Is this a school that I could apply to? Did I miss something as well, right?
And there are mistakes that happen with net price calculators where someone might say, I make $100,000, but I save in a 401k or 403b, I save 10%. So they put down $90,000 as their income. Well, that $10,000 is still your income. You're choosing to put it into retirement.
That's right.
So it needs to be counted. So, it's great that we can walk families through it, and especially for people thinking about early decision. If families are committing to a school, we want families to know, I can afford this. I'm going to check off the box saying I'm committing to the early decision process. And so we want families to have a ballpark idea of the aid so that they know if I get in, okay, I can do this.
That's right. And then for our listeners who don't know what early decision is, a binding agreement, whether it's early decision 1 or 2 to a campus, meaning you get accepted, you have to go. And the only way you could back out of it is if the financial aid package deal isn't there, right? But there are some schools like yourself, and I think a lot of our listeners should know about, it's in about 70 colleges nationwide that do meet full need in the nation, right? And your campus being one of them.
That is correct.
Yeah. So now when families go do whether the net price calculator or my intuition, a lot of times it's a student maybe doing it, or sometimes it's a blended family, which doesn't ask, hey, what's a two-family household? There's a lot of questions that they have. So before they start this process, whether it's the actual FAFSA form, CSS profile, which is required by a lot of schools, or they're doing the net price calculator, how should they prepare? Like, there's someone who's doing this for the very first time. What will be some recommendations for you?
So there are some checklists. On the Dartmouth website, we do have a sort of like a checklist,
Nice.
so people know how to, or what they're going to need before they go through this process, or what they're going to need to apply. And this is one of the situations where every school can be different. So you fill out a FAFSA and you're using just your custodial parent. So if your parents are separated or divorced, you're not using the parent that you're not living with on the federal side. But many schools on the institutional side for scholarship and grant money are asking for the entire family financial questions. And so
there's about 400 colleges, right, that require that through the CSS profile and College Board website, right?
And so, correct. And being every school is different, it will say, as you're checking out these schools, and it's just worth doing the research. Without a doubt, it's worth doing the research ahead of time, saying, okay, this is what I need to apply to this school. This is what I have to do to apply to that school. And I like to say that financial aid offices, admissions, we're on your team. Yeah. And so it is a team effort. And if you have questions, because you've heard me say it's not every one size fit all, there are some situations where we just can't get household B data, non-custodial parent data. And that doesn't mean don't apply. It means communicate with the school and talk to the school and say, is there a process? Here's what's going on. And there are different waivers. Sometimes we're able to waive, sometimes we're not, but it's all about communicating with the school. And, I talk about it, there's a team out here, and it's financial aid, it's admissions, it's your high school, it's your family, it's your guardian, whoever's there on this team are here to try to be able to give as much information and cheering you on, specifically because, admissions is admitting students. We want people to come, and we want people to have smiles on their face. And that's really important. And we do meet full need, as you said earlier, demonstrated need. But unfortunately, sometimes people think their demonstrated need is a little bit different than what the actual picture is.
No,
but at least
I tell everyone it's about need, not want.
Correct.
If you have that extra home in Tahoe, just remember that's not your home, right? Yeah.
That is correct.
Invest in Airbnb now.
That's great.
Yeah. So there's a lot of terms that are out there where kids will hear, right? Like whether it be FAFSA, 1099, W-2, verification, what is truly what household size is. Because lots, like if I decided for you to join my house, right, and I'm paying and supporting you, even though I would wish I was related to you, but you could be part of my house. So where can somebody find a glossary of all that information that's out there?
So more and more, that's a great question. More and more schools are coming up with their own glossaries. And because what makes this so tough sometimes is, and when I say it can be and feel complicated, is because when we talk about money, stress happens sometimes, and we just changed the tax forms in our government just changed our tax forms, and so you have people that have been used to looking at these tax forms, and this year in 2018 they looked really different,
very different.
And so so you have changes, and some people don't know sometimes if they have to file, or if they file, did they do it correctly, and it's a complicated system.